There we are. Hey, everybody out there in comment land, can you see us? Can you hear us? We had some technical challenges leading up to this baby, so we're maybe a minute or two behind. Well, 4 minutes behind. Cujo, Harlock, Rick, can you hear us?
We good?
Yeah, we're good. All right, sweet. It's interesting when when you got all this stuff. Oh my, I should have listened yesterday. I wonder why Don's saying that. I mean, I did all right. I had a profitable slate. Did you?
Yeah, I did. I had Arizona. I did 3 max. I had Arizona in 2, and I can't remember who I had in the third. Oh, San Francisco, I think. No, Angels.
I can tell you, I hard faded all of San Francisco. I had nothing in there. So even though they scored 6 runs, they didn't affect much.
You want to hear the heartbreak? I made a comment during the show yesterday. I said, hey, take the Rockies money line, but I prefer bet 365 because you can get an early payout if they get up by 5 runs. Even if they blow it, you still win because they cash you out. And right before the 9th inning started, I looked down and it was like 100 to win, 310 altogether. And it said 100, or the cash out was 290 something. And I was like, screw that. Like, Rockies will pull it off. And then they blew it in the top of the 9th. I got shit. Nothing.
Yeah, well, the full fade, I don't know, it was weird. Arizona was, I can't remember how chalky they were. They were the number 1, I think, leverage team or 2 leverage team, whatever it was. I thought they were a little too chalky to do damage, but they were the stacks that did the best for me, that got the deepest in the tournaments I was in. I think I got up to 3rd in a 700 man or something like that. That was okay. Nothing to write home about. No binks or anything like that, but whatever.
I feel like I had the right players to accomplish what I needed to, but they were unfortunately distributed wrong.
Yep. Well, that's what always happens. It's one of my favorite things about MME is I can talk to people about DFS and then, do you have that guy? Yep. Do you have that guy? Yep. Do you have that guy? Yep. How's your lineup doing? No idea. I got no idea. And they're like, why? I'm like, I don't know if those guys are all in the same lineup. I got 100 lineups out there. If they're all in the same lineup, I'm having a great night. But anyway, what are we at? 5, 6, 7 games today?
I want to say 7.
I need to click this bad boy over here onto DS. Do you have a weather report for us? I know that Joey's gone, but I mean, do you have – I didn't see any weather concerns today, but I was looking at the early, and I didn't get back in time to look at the late.
No, I don't.
Said really no weather. See anything. San Francisco again. We'll have to turbo through the tools here. This will give you guys a little bit. If my screen is changing, which it is, cool. This gives you an idea of how I can quickly get caught up, because I'll look here, and then I'll scroll down here and look for the pitchers really quick. Here's our chalk. Cut that off on pitchers. And I might just set it up this way myself, where look at that. Robbie Ray, David Peterson, Festa, whatever. That's dudes up near 20%. Gusto, Schmidt. I don't touch Schmidt very often. Leiter, Bueller, Little. Some of these guys will get left behind. Here's the thing. If these guys do damage on the slate, they help in large field tournaments. They're not going to help you in the stuff that I typically play. So I don't usually include them. I just stick to these top 3, 4, 5 guys.
Yeah, and I don't touch Schmidt unless my finger goes through the toilet paper.
Right. I don't give a Schmidt.
Is this thing on? Is this thing on?
Cross check. Sounds like something's on. Then I'll cross check here with the Carnage report, and that's the early. We need the main.
I don't feel comfortable with any pitcher tonight, to be completely honest.
Well, Robbie Ray, I know it's in Coors, but Robbie Ray.
I mean, you get the strikeout upside, but
strikeout upside, big time strikeout upside. Low ISO probably helps him in Coors, I hope. Low X Woba. I mean, guy's been pitching pretty well. He's chalky. There's a lot of protection in him being chalky.
Yeah.
Bubic
I mean,
or
your
whatever.
small stuff.
Right.
Yeah, just
God, he's going up against the Yankees.
Yeah. David Peterson, I like. I mean, David Fiesta, I mean, maybe Texas blew their load last night.
Right. He's way down here with no data to go on, so we'd have to trust the field on that one. Low cards. As I'm looking through here, I mean, I don't mind Ray. I don't mind Bubic. I'm going to take that strikeout upside and hope they got their shit working for them today.
Yeah, I'm going to let Jesus.
So as long as Ray and Bubic are in my pool. If I go back over here to the DS really quick, where's Bubic? Bubic is in there. So, I mean, I've got Ray and I've got Bubic in here. I'm okay with this. You know, I mean, maybe you can expand your field a little bit if you really, really want to. I don't know that I'm leaving anybody out that's going to be super huge. Somebody in here that was not checked is going to have a big day. That's the way that always works. But I typically don't need that to do well and net profit and get deep into the smaller field tournaments that I like to play. The bigger field stuff, I mean, yeah, you got to hit the nuts wherever you go, and sometimes lightning needs to hit the bottle for that to happen. But I'm not – look at all these guys. Look at the drop-off from the 580, 560 K scores here down into the 400s and deep into the 400s. This is all ass in theory. And this isn't anything that gets me excited to load up on different pitchers. I'm just going to eat these two and a couple of guys around them and be done with it. To me, pitching is the easiest thing. Again, I'm not the brainchild that Razzle is, but I'm not trying to nail these guys. They've got a predicted floor. Most of the time, the chalk is pretty right, and I'm going to take that insulation, that protection property, and I'm going to worry about the bats, and I'm going to rock and roll that way. So, I mean, I can be done with pitching entirely. Just
on this other website I use and look at that runs all the sims and sims and sims. For pitching today, they have Robbie Ray at about 19.9 points with a 3.8% chance to bust, an upside of 33, and a medium outcome of about 20.6, followed by Peterson, Bubic, and Gusto as far as the bust rate.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, then they're obviously the top four scorers, too.
I mean, some of these guys are going to bust. There's no doubt. I mean, you've got – who was it? Yeah, Bubic going up against the Yankees. I mean, he could implode. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I look at leverage stacks, though, because like I said, for me, I can be done with pitching just that fast. I'm going to come over here, sort by implied run total. And when I'm looking down this column, like I said yesterday, take those top 10-ish teams in implied run total. I'm going to try and fade off the chalk. So when I see this red, that's not as bad as yesterday was with the big jump from whatever 140 down to 40 something. But I can still fade San Francisco today. There's a big enough gap in here that I can still take some of these other teams. Tampa, Houston, New York, notably New York Mets and Houston. You know, a little bit of Boston. But look at this. Minnesota jumps up there today. They're low owned. They're, over a 5 implied run total. They're in play. Yankees are in play. Down in here, you might scoop up. I don't know. KC, Colorado, I don't know. See, I'm probably going to be in this middle range right here again. I might, instead of fading like the top 2 or 3 owned teams, I might just still fade the San Francisco 49ers. Listen to me. And then just do these other 5 or 6 guys right there. Those are probably my offenses tonight, my big stacks. And then maybe my little stacks, something else. But here's the lesson. To just completely avoid San Francisco worked last night. Why won't it work again? The trick is we got to have the cojones to make that fade and understand that if it explodes for 10 runs, that it's going to suck and it's going to hurt, but it's only one night. Hopefully I'm more than doubled my entry fees last night. So I've got kind of a free night in the house. If I lose tonight, then I break even on to 2 days and we're off to the third day.
Real quick, I just saw a question from Greg. Who's your core? I don't know if, since we're talking about pitching, that's what he meant, but I would say that my core pitchers are just going to be those Ray Peterson, type deals would be the two guys I'm looking to get the most of.
Ray and Peterson. Peterson's all right. I mean, I might include Bubik. But when you want a core pitcher and you want the cash game pitcher, I hate to say it, but it might be Robbie Ray.
Yeah.
Is he safe? I doubt
he's
it.
51% projected ownership. In the small tournaments, I bet he's going to be 80.
Mm-hmm. That's why. So when you're looking at the core play, again, if you're playing cash games, you eat it and you move on. If you're playing tournaments, okay, you might look to get different, but nothing else really stands out. Nothing else stands out as far superior or more overlooked or something like that. That's why these numbers are kind of high.
It's not a great pitching slate. So
no, it's not. So being that it's a little bit wider open than usual, there might not even be a core pitcher today. You know what I'm saying? It might be one of those things where it's like, I'm going to run these 3, 4, 5 guys. So I'm going to take whatever combinations I get of them, and that's that. Just because we have a slate doesn't mean we have to have a core pitcher. We may have a favorite pitcher, but it may not be somebody I'm running in 70 or 80% of my lineups. I may tamp him down to 50% or something and be like, that's all I want of anybody tonight, and really make it mix and match. I'm okay with that. I mean, I would give again, I'm going to go back to the K-score number. It's a number that's worked for me for 5 years. I'm going to go back to these two and say those are the two pitchers that I would be the heaviest on, but I'm not excited about any of them. I might be 50, 60% on Robbie Ray and everybody else 40% and make them mix and match. And that means I'm going to get in 50, 60, 70, 100 lineups. I'm going to get lineups without Robbie Ray in them that are going to be Peterson, Bubich, or Bubich Gusto or whatever. And I'm cool with that. Or even Festa. And give me a Bubich Festa. Give me a Peterson Festa, something like that. And I'm okay with that as long as that isn't 75% of what I'm doing. Booby Fiesta. As long as that's not what I'm doing with 75% of my lineups, I'm okay with that. If it's a pretty even spread, I'm okay. I don't have to take a stand with pitching tonight. It's basically what we're saying. I don't have to have a core play because every slate is essentially different.
Just get the right offense and the right hitters tonight.
ChatGPT told Octavius to use Ray. Good, man. Go with it. I've been leaning on ChatGPT.
Who did Raz GPT say?
Right. Let's look through these here. Better option to stack Mets over the Giants. Chuck, in my opinion, yes.
Mets are my top stack.
I'll let you say why, and then I'll close out with why I would.
The picking on Irvin, Mets have a great offense. I mean, I don't have any great, profound reasons.
I didn't realize it was Freeland. Ooh.
Freeland for Colorado?
Yeah. Okay, I can see the I can see the waffling, because once I see the name Freeland, I'm starting to waffle a little bit too. I'm still on Mets, and I don't like the fact, and I'll show the carnage here, but I don't like the fact that the Mets are facing a guy with a low ISO against, and Freeland's almost a 200, right? Like he's given up some power. But going back to leverage stacks, you've got the number one team in the Mets generating the most leverage if they go off tonight, and the 9th most leverage in the chalk team, which is the Giants. And there's enough of a gap here between the Giants and then some of the others that I don't need to. I can fade Giants again. It's a little riskier tonight than it was last night. So, I mean, along those lines. Oh my God.
Something we used to do a lot with Raz too. Like, who is my third top tier stack?
Well, okay. Who's your number one tier? Is it the Mets only?
Mets and no, I got 3 for each tier, and the first 2 are the Mets in San Francisco.
Oh, so you will be playing San Francisco tonight?
Yeah.
Okay, and again, that's fair, and you might be running off of that high ISO and Freeland and Coors and all of that too. I'm looking for the leverage, and so I'm just going to take the chance and fade. I might fade Coors the rest of the damn year, as long as the Dodgers aren't there, or the Padres aren't there, or whatever else. I might just fade, as long as the elite offense isn't in Coors. I might just fade Coors all year and just take my freaking chances. Not saying you're wrong, and certainly Don. I know what's going to happen, Don. You're going to fade them tonight, and they're going to go off because that's just DFS. You had pieces of them last night, and they didn't do you any good, and you fade them tonight, and they go off, and you're just like, what the hell? The minute that I do this, that happens, and the minute I do that, this happens. And dude, I've been there. I've lived there for weeks. But me personally, I'm gonna stay with the fade until the fade burns me, and see if it works again tonight. That would put me on the Mets. Now, to answer Chuck's question, either one is probably fine. I mean, Tattoo just told you there's two. Who's your third team? In tier one?
I didn't know if anybody wanted to try to figure it out.
Oh, yeah. If anybody wants to guess, go for it. Because we're looking at that leverage stacks page, and shit. I don't know. Throw those guesses in there, boys. Throw those guesses in there. How many people are we talking to? What's that little eyeball up there that next to the live say?
57.
57. Only 57 people in here. We got to call our friends. We need to get Dixon in here to like and tell everyone to plug in and like the broadcast. And the more comments we get, the more people I would think would start to see it. But anyway, no guesses out of anybody. I'll take the guesses. I'll wear one for a team. I'm never afraid to fall on the sword. I'm gonna say Minnesota. No.
But the right answer is in the comments.
The right answer is in the comments. Look at this. Somebody got it then. Oh, it's Tampa or Boston then, or the Yankees. Look, you guys are coming in now. Okay, then. Now, I would have said Yankees, but they're expensive. Tampa's been sneaky the whole time. I don't know if they're in a premium spot. I'm gonna flip this on its head. I'm gonna say Boston.
Tampa.
You suck, man. You also. Hell with all y'all. I can't get embarrassed like this. That's not good for the reputation. Gives you a street cred. But
hey, at least it was a DFS coach that got it. So, Army coach.
That's funny. Well, then there's going to be a show opening soon. We're just going to exit stage left and be gone over here. Anyway.
How long did it take Ivan to?
If you can't have fun with this stuff, you can't have fun. All right. So we got Tampa, San Francisco, and already freaking forgot the Mets. So your tier, that would be who you're going to have the most exposure to, right? And obviously, you're going to mix and match those stacks. Those 5-man stacks might be, 1, 2, 5, 7, whatever. It might be 3, 4, 7, 8, whatever. They're going to mix and match a little bit. Who are you? Is there anybody in those tier teams? Let's say San Francisco. Is there anybody on San Francisco that you have to have in your stacks if you're going to do it?
Tyler Fitzgerald is one. He's 3 for 5 with a home run versus Freeland. I'll take that. I like Wilmer and Heliot. My core players today are Pete Alonso, Wilmer, Tyler Fitzgerald, Jeff McNeil, and Francisco Lindor and Ramos.
Okay, because that's what I was going to start getting to.
Jeff McNeil is like white hot right now.
When we go, I was going to say, is there a core play on each team that you would go for, or is that just going to be your core guys? Is there?
They're probably just like I said. I'm going to do 3 max. It's only going to involve 5-man's only going to involve those 3 sides, those 3 teams. However it fits for me, and I'll have a lot of those guys. Like Jeff McNeil, I think is going to be a staple. Him and Fitzgerald are both second base, but McNeil you can throw in the outfield. Alonso at first base, and Wilmer you can use at third also. So I'm going to have a lot of those guys.
Doing a little mixing and matching. Yep, and their DS updated on me right when I was on the Mets. So we got Mets, we got Giants. Where are them Tampa Bay Rays? Where did they go? Because it's going to update on me now for a little while. It's like these little things come in waves. So once it starts shifting on you, it's going to shift and shift and shift for a few minutes. Both Lyles, Aranda, Caminero, Yandy, and then scrub, kind of. Top 5 bats.
Caminero shit on me last night, so I like him to go back to him tonight.
See, that's the beauty of it, and that's the DFS mindset. Got crapped on me last night. Back to the well we go because he's, either in a good matchup or he's not. He's either a good hitter.
Yeah, I don't mind picking on Walker Buehler.
No complaints there. Don's asking if we pick positions by ownership, and when I'm building cash lineups, I do.
We kind of did this last week where we were doing that, where we sorted by ownership. Remember, unchecked everybody and just took.
Yeah, Don, you want to see us do that again? We can do that again real quick.
Ownership guys.
So we've already got the pitchers done, right?
Yeah, and I mean, on a smaller slate, ownership should be more pronounced.
And so if I go hitters and uncheck her, I'll make sure those pitchers are still in there. Now I can go, ownership's right up here. So Diaz, Narvaez. I don't think I would use Goodman because these two guys are cheaper. So, I mean, Goodman's awfully pricey out in Coors, number one, and that's fine. But Narvaez and Diaz are both cheaper by $500 or more. I'm going to take that value every time, especially if it's higher owned.
I would only use him if that I wasn't going to have Ray in every lineup. Maybe the one that I didn't have, I'll have Colorado.
I would go down first base. I'd probably go down to about Alonso here. Now, if you really wanted to, I mean, these guys are all in play, most likely. There's probably ownership should be higher on Alonso, except he's expensive. And if people
Wilmer
Flores
is almost twice the ownership. I would rather pay the $400 repeat.
You've got your Altuve, Lau, Fitzgerald, and then see the big drop between 13-ish% and 7%. I don't need to go below Fitzgerald at second base. Simeon's nice. McNeil's nice. You said McNeil, and you might include him, but in a cash lineup, I'm just to stay up here in the top. In a tournament lineup, he's going to go in part of my stack.
Yeah.
But cash lineup's a little bit different. Cash lineup, we're looking for the floor. There's Caminero and Devers up top, and then it really drops off. Now, see, you might look at Toro and be like, why is he in there now? Well, because he was in there at first base in all this 10% stuff. I hope he doesn't land at third base. I'm going to leave him in there, but this drop-off from 17 down to 10 tells me I don't need to go below the 17.
You could always change them, too, to only first base.
That's true. But I'll leave him in case it wants to throw him in there with Flores. They're both high enough owned. It's all right. Shortstop, Adames. And that's a big enough jump that might not even need anything over their Adames, being that these other guys are more expensive. But you might love Lindor. Pena's all right. Lindor. Bobby Witt's a cash game player if I ever heard of one. But then that drop-off Story's a little too low-owned. Seager's a little too low-owned to mess with much. You might like a Correa, and if you wanted to throw him in there as a pivot, that's okay. But, again, in cash games, I just try to hide in that ownership the best I can. All these chalky outfielders, Soto, Duran, Helio, Lau, 15, Aaron Judge, 15. Of course, you want to include him, Nemo, Encarnacion, if you want a little bit of a value play out there in the outfield, which I always love value in the outfield. Benintendi, that's a little, but 3-hole hitter in the White Sox lineup. I mean, it's not great, and Tauchman as well. They're not great spots, but Benintendi's dirt-ass cheap, and he's in the 3-hole. It's a prime spot. I would probably go about down to there, and that's about it. Leave the rest of those lineups. Those guys
How much
30 players. Benintendi's 2,900. Sitting in the 3-hole. Now, it's not a great matchup, and it's not a great offense, it's not a great team. If you're going to punt somebody, I can think of worse places to punt than a 3-hole hitter at third spot in my outfield. That's like a get me 3 points and I'm happy kind of situation. So if I go up on there and then make myself 3 lineups, optimal mode, 1 unique, it's probably going to make me do the dirty, change everybody by, 0.1 or some baloney. So we'll just do this stupid stuff just to satisfy it. Let it eat, throw those 3 lineups out there, and I just pick one. These are cash lineups. If they stack, they stack. If they don't, they don't. And so we got 3 Stros, which is interesting for cash. But that's what's trying to free you up, that 3,500, 3,700, whatnot's trying to free you up to get into Coors. It's using Benintendi, but it's got Nemo from the Mets. Adames, Elio, that's only 2 Giants. It's not bad. Toro in third hole, and went up a little bit at pitching, 9,000, 9,000. That's not bad. I would think that Ray and somebody else got in there with Ray in that third lineup. But there's 1, 2, 3 Astros again. There's 2 Giants again. Caminero in the 5 hole at Tampa. Nemo again in the Mets, and then Benintendi punting in the outfield again. It's punting Benintendi in all 3. Use Peterson, Ray and Peterson in the third. So if you wanted to use Peterson over Bubic, then that's what you would do. 1, 2 Astros instead of 3, 2 Giants. Aaron Judge, if you want Aaron Judge in a cash lineup, there you go. Nemo and Benintendi again. Jeremy Pena, shortstop. None of these are terrible lineups. I might try to avoid Tyler Fitzgerald in the 8 hole a little bit if I'm punting with Benintendi. But, it's not the worst thing in the world. Adames over Casey Schmidt. Adames and Elio. I don't know. That first one's okay. Third one was okay. It's just going to depend on, do you want Aaron Judge in your lineup or not, or do you want to go Bubic and Ray, or do you want to go Ray and Peterson? Kind of what you're doing is you're just quibbling over one dude.
Yeah.
In each lineup. The rest of them are all pretty identical, which is what you want. It's telling you these are the versions of the optimal that you should probably use if you're playing cash games. And the way we did that, we just chopped down all that chalk. We'll just do it again with 5 lineups. Chop down that chalk and just play with the high-owned players and let the optimizer put the puzzle piece together. It's usually going to get close. There's Judge in 2, 3. Okay. But it sure is punting the hell out of Benintendi. It just sees that value in the outfield. 2,900 in the outfield on a Coors slate. And it says he's in the 3 hole. He's owned a little. The public see him, even though he's only 10% owned, the public sees him enough that he draws in, and then the optimizer says yes. So there you have it. There you are. Hopefully that helps. That's how, Don, that's how I would do it. I would go through when I'm picking my positions and I'm doing some of the lineups. That's what I would be doing. And it works. I can go through a cash season and win at 55 to 70%, depending on how good a year I had across several years. Just doing this. Once these projections got this good, industry-wide, and granted, there's a lot of overlap. They're all very, very close and whatnot. Where the tournament players make their hay is by seeing where that stuff is maybe vulnerable or wrong. When it has a lot of ownership to it, in the cash games, we can leave it. Because if somebody's 50-something% owned and the guy goes off, you just killed yourself if you don't have him. And if he doesn't go off, it's okay. But, as a general rule, you're going to find those mistakes too, that bad chalk as they call it, and you still play that in your cash games. But in your tournaments, those are the first pivots you make because you get the hell off of that stuff.
I like Mets Rays.
Minnesota pitcher.
To answer Don's question.
Yep. Mets Houston or Mets Rays? Yeah, you're going to be on Mets Rays. They're both your tier 1 teams. I might too. If I go back to leverage stacks here and look at Houston.
I don't think Houston made my list.
And Houston being up top here is one of the leverage teams. They'll be in my GPP lineups, and the reason why is they're cheap and they're going to get if they go off, they're going to be all right. But am I going to, out of 20 lineups, am I going to make 5 or 6 Houston lineups? No. I'll make 3. Something like that. I'm not going to make a ton. I don't know, guys. It shows yours. What else do we want to talk about? We got But we're at 30 minutes now. We can bail here anytime in the next 10 minutes. Yeah, and you don't want Tattoo doing his cosmetics. That's not what this show's about. We're not QVC.
No. I can give you my
go dinger dongs. Yeah, go dinger dongs.
I haven't put up my bong hit bets today with my.
Well, then we might just.
He's going to re-record my song, and he's going to rap it.
That's funny. That's really
he just
funny.
Got to change the beat. But Jeff McNeil is my dinger of the day.
No shit. Okay. Jeff McNeil, who's your daddy?
I got some fuck you money from Wyatt Langford last night. So
you're just going to let it eat?
Going to let her eat.
Dude, that's funny. Good, man. Hope that dude hits. I mean, that's in that lineup. That's one of the third or fourth dudes I would consider. And that's probably why his price is nice. I wish that I could get my DraftKings app to open up here. For whatever reason.
Let's see. McNeil, last 7 days, OPS of 1.173, a ISO of 478, and 3 homers. So he's swinging a stick right now.
Yeah, Don's basically saying he wouldn't have thought of him either. I mean, there's no way I would have. Hey, we got some lineups marching here. We don't have anything headed for boosters on the early, but we've got innings remaining, and we're profitable in the quarter arcade. So we might have a decent day here on the early.
Let's see what we can get here. Anytime home run, Jeff McNeil plus 400.
Okay. It means 20% of the time. If you think he's going to hit one more than 20% of the time, it's a good price.
Let me use the handy Sharp app so I can see who has the best.
There you go.
Odds for McNeil. Player home runs. Caesars plus 550.
That's for McNeil?
Yeah.
So instead of plus 400, you take the 550.
Yeah.
100%. Again, that's why it's so damn important to have multiple accounts.
I love that too, Ivan.
What, Paredes?
Yeah.
Well, we got crickets everywhere today. I don't have a ton. I don't have a ton of strategy or anything to talk about. I'm looking at stuff tonight, and I mean, like you said, you've got your tiers. I've got the way I would go about doing things, which is fade off San Francisco again, and then take those next dudes down. Pitching was pretty simple. It's widely shotgunned. I'm not going to be overexposed to any particular pitcher. If I do, Ray would be the heaviest I'm on, but it's not going to be dominant. And I mean, to me, it's pretty straightforward. Either it's going to work or it's not. There's no genius play today in particular. So I'll tell you what I'll do here in the next couple. I'm going to just set up my tournament stuff. I'm going to give this a reset. And I'll just show you guys how I do this as well. We just did the cash lineup stuff. I don't know if everybody's interested or not, but we got some time to kill, so why not? We got all the lineups in. We do. I like to uncheck those zeros. I don't think there's anybody in there now, but 40 lineups. I just took 20 maxes. The little dime time, 3,500 dime time. I don't play those a lot. So I'm going to have to get a little bit more contrarian tonight, which is why fading San Francisco is first place I'm personally going to start. I'm going to widen out my uniques a good bit. I might even go 4, depending on how this works. Because I cut my pitching pool down pretty narrow, and I don't want a dominant anybody. I'm actually going to use randomization on pitching and about 20% on hitting. And then I'm going to come over here to these pitchers. I'm going to check everybody back in. They should be after resetting the system. But when I go to pitchers and I uncheck everybody and sort by ownership, like I said, I'm going to take those top few guys, and I'm just going to leave it. And I'm going to say no more than 60% of any given player, and then we'll let it go from there. Team stacking, it's a big slate, so we're going to go about 70%. Well, it's not that big, so we'll go full 100% 5x2. On the big slates, 10 games and bigger, I'll put 10 to 20% in 5x3s. On the smaller slates, I'll actually start to go a little bit of 4x3 or 4x2. On the 3-game slates, now 4-game slate is not small enough for me. I'm still 5x2 when I do that personally. Then I'm going to look, uncheck all these dudes over here on the left, and I said I was fading San Francisco. And then I'm going to look here, New York, Houston, Boston, Minnesota, New York, Tampa. Probably stop it there. Maybe I'll cross-check a little San Francisco. San Francisco's going to be a tough fade tonight. They do make some sense. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to do it just because I'm going to put my balls out there trying. If San Francisco goes off, there's going to be enough people on them that I'm fighting 3,500. I'm probably fighting 1,000 people of the 3,500. I still got to beat 1,000 people. I would rather be fighting 100 people if what I'm talking about works out. So Tampa, New York, Minnesota, there's Houston, low ISOs though. Houston, that's not so good. Boston, Yankees up there against Boo. You got to hope Booch blows up. Doesn't look like he's gonna. I might fade Yankees too.
Yeah, I faded him last night and it didn't work.
So Boston, Tampa, Houston, New York, Minnesota. Those are probably the teams that I'm gonna use. Now I don't know. The decision is, God, the little two-mans. Do I leave this alone, or do I add San Francisco or Colorado or New York? Oh, it's a little tougher. Or any of these guys can pop in too, so that's fine. I could leave them all checked too, and just make them all go about 20%. Make them mix and match. And
why do some of these books make it so hard to give them my money? Like, I'm trying to deposit here, you asshole.
40 lineups. It's about 10 of each. Leave you 50 more to play with among 5 teams. Biggest leverage is on the Mets, Stros, and Boston. And not so much on Boston. Minnesota's generating more leverage. Mets, Houston, and Minnesota. So where's those Mets? So 30% on the Mets, 20 on Houston, 30 on Minnesota. There's my 100% right there. And I mean, I'm done. I'll just make 40 lineups. And then all I'm doing now, once it makes 40 lineups, is I'm just double checking. Make sure my stack's on the big side, these 5 teams. Make sure that number adds up. You can see the calculator here. Make sure that number adds up to the 40 lineups that I've got.
Ivan, make sure you do a parlay with McNeil and Brady's. That's plus 3150.
So I've got 39 stacked lineups out of the 40, which is fine. What I do is usually the top lineup is unstacked when that happens. I try to make 40 lineups. Sometimes they all come out stacked. When they don't, this one here, what I'll do is I'll pay attention to these first few guys. I'll go find it in DraftKings later, and I'll hand build it. Because I want my lineup stacked. I don't want to just leave this one out here and just pitch it to the wind, especially when I'm using randomization for pitching and for hitting, because it could just pull trash. I want correlation. I'll just go build it in my hand later, and I'll look at my combinations here and see maybe where I'm lacking. I've maybe got a little too much Minnesota, New York, a little too much Houston, whatever. Houston, San Francisco. Look at that. It pulled in 4 San Francisco lineups on me anyway. But that's because actually I included everybody on that small stack side. So if I look over here, 7 lineups. That's all right. That's minor, but it's not a full fade. I can live with it. 4 of them are with Houston. That's interesting. I might go change some of that shit up. Using randomization, you can optimize again. That's not hurting anything. I have no idea what these combinations are going to do. Nothing changed. Come in here and look at these again, 12, 11 is 23 there, same 39. But when I look at combinations, and that's a math thing. There are 3 here instead of 4. So if you with 3, Minnesota, San Francisco this time. How many San Franciscos down here in Team 2? Look at this, only 3 this time. I like that a little better. That's a harder fade, and that's the randomization doing that. So I might like that one. I might like that one. So I'll just download those 40, and that's what I'll roll with tonight. I'll go upload those into DraftKings later, and I mean that's essentially the process that I do. And when I play the little cheapies, this builds a bankroll, just like anything else.
I was looking for a $3,300 and under outfielder.
Well, let's go looking.
We took Drew Waters.
Well, I will go research station.
It's a shame he didn't have 3,400. Such step up.
Outfielder?
Yeah, because you can go to Willie Castro, Alec Call. Carciano, I mean, whatever his name is.
DraftKings?
Yeah.
So if I sort DraftKings salary, and then I've got all these top dudes up here, and I just come down under 3,300.
Not a lot.
So now all I need to do is find bad bullpen, trending. So this is how I'm going to do it.
He has Ray and Fiesta.
So, I mean, you're going to want to look at a matchup. You're going to want to pick from a good offense. You may get down to 2 or 3 guys that you're acceptable with. There's Benintendi again, too. 7-day trend, not good. Benintendi hadn't been good in a long time. Although his 14 days are already, see, he's running cold again. It's 14 days higher than his 7 days. So that tells me Benintendi's run cold. So I wouldn't expect much from him tonight. John Rave, if he draws the start, he's running hot. Joe Adell, if he's on the slate. I think Joe Adell might have been on early. Alex Call looks too expensive. Jacob Young's probably a punt, but he doesn't look like he gets a lot of plate appearances. Yeah, they're just slim pickings.
Yeah.
Really slim pickings.
And I found out yesterday, I can't remember how to say his last name, but Keston Hiroa or whatever is back in the major league. I was like, I hadn't seen him in forever. But he's on Colorado now.
Well, I wish I could give better pick than that. 3,300 is getting dirt cheap on DraftKings.
Yeah, 3,300 seems to be the bad break line.
You know, what I would say, well, you see the 2,900 in Benintendi, but I mean, what I would say, I would go back up into my stack. And who's your main stack in that lineup, Don? Because I would take one of those core pieces out. Maybe the highest owned expensive dude. If it's Alonso, it's Alonso. It's tough. But I mean, if it's Soto or if it's Lindor or something like that, I might take that dude out. And
Tampa Mets, Tampa, Kansas City.
Well, what I'm getting at is I would take one of those expensive bats out, and then I would take out the 3,300 dude that I have in there, and I would put in a less expensive Mets outfielder, 35, 36, 3,700, maybe 4,000, something like that. And then whatever I've got left, that should free up $1,000 to $1,500, and that's going to get me off that 3,300, and it's going to get me back up into the 4,500 range, and that's going to be a far more reasonable one-off in a spot like that. A lot of times when you get down to, oh no, I've only got this much left over for one more spot. I mean, now you're punting, and I don't like punting with my one-offs. I'd rather punt inside a stack with that fourth or fifth piece of that stack, because if the stack hits and the stack goes off, that dude's going to get his points most likely. He's going to end up getting several at bats, and he's going to get a lot of opportunity with dudes on base because they're scoring runs that night. I want my one-off coming from a place where the one-off can stand by himself, and punts don't typically do that unless you get lucky. And it's Benintendi in the 3-hole who runs into a barreled ball and hits one out or something. And that's a great. I mean, we had last night with Darth. I made the smart-ass comment of we were looking for a one-off fill-in, and I don't know who the guy was, but I was like, he's not somebody who hits for a lot of power. And then in the DS, it gave me an option of Nolan Gorman in the 7-hole in St. Louis. And I was like, I mean, Nolan Gorman sucks this year, but at least he's got pop and he can run into one. He can hit one out. And if that happens for your punt, then good for you. Sure as shit, he hit one out last night. I was like, what do you know? Now, that wasn't my lineup. I wasn't building that lineup, but that's what might have happened had I made that choice. I will always, in baseball, I will always opt for power unless I'm building a cash lineup. If I'm playing tournaments, I will always opt for power over, like Luis Araz does not make it into my tournament lineups. And in fact, even in San Diego stacks, he's often a fade. He just doesn't have it. I mean, he'll hit 3-4 singles and he'll drive in runs and all that stuff, but he just doesn't have it over somebody who in the 6, 7, 8 hole can just knock one out. That's the guy I want. But I don't know. Anything else out of you today? I mean, we can call it here. Hopefully that helped Don and some of these other guys.
I think that's it. I need to go make a lineup.
All right. Well, that works for me. You can. You're the one with the controls tonight, so you can hit that end show or whatever up there in the upper right-hand corner, and you can kick us into the midnight. And hopefully everybody has a good night and makes money. And some of this stuff helped us out.
In my gut too.
There we go. Well, go get rid of that. Purge yourself of yesterday's evil.
Yes, I am about to. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Helmets up. Let's win some money. I like that. I like that lineup with Magnum.
So you got to click that dude twice, that close out button.
I haven't hit it yet. I was reading the
comment. Okay. Yeah, I got you. I was like, what? I was like, I hope he's not talking after the show.
Thanks, guys.